Hey everybody, today I'm talking to you from my camper bedroom. Welcome. As you can see, it's still very '09 old people camper, but it's a roof over our head, so it works. I want to talk to you today a little bit about preparing your camper for winter. When my husband and I were first looking at RVs to live in, we wanted a 4 seasons because we knew we were moving to an area that had much colder weather than what we were used to in Florida, and snow and everything else. So originally we wanted a 4 seasons, but unfortunately at the time 4 seasons campers, even used ones, were outside of our budget for purchasing a camper. So we ended up with this camper right now. It's a 2009 King Sport. And so it does not have the same kind of insulation as a 4 seasons camper would. So that's something that we have to kind of do and provide for ourselves. The vast majority of campers are not 4 season campers, so this is something that even if you are living, even honestly in Florida, we would still get down to the 20s at night sometimes. So there's still things you're probably going to have to do to help winterize your camper, even living in a more southern state like Florida. But we are here in Oklahoma, so what we have been doing is working on insulation inside of, currently right now, inside of our camper. So as you'll see behind me, there is the window behind me. This is our, as you can see from the red latches too, our emergency exit. But we have several windows throughout the camper that are just like the big panes of glass. And we have one actually in the kids. We have a bunkhouse area, but it's literally just the beds. That's it. There's no like play space or anything like that. But they have a window right there next to our two youngest bed. And so we knew that when it got down into the 40s last week that we needed a way to start insulating these windows because our kids, even with blankets and flannel jammies and everything else, we're still freezing, and the heater on, we're still freezing because there's so much cold air basically coming through, or coldness in general coming through the windows. And so we actually bought foam insulation, and that's what you see in the window right here. And you can literally just rip it out during the day. And so it is 2-inch thick foam project insulation that you would normally get at, well, we got it at Walmart. And I have the big old bag right here to show you. So project foam, multi-purpose insulation. You can see right here, durable, whatnot, and everything else. This foam actually fits perfectly in the crack in our window. And so we literally can just, basically what we did is we cut a little bit bigger than the size of the window. We measured off the window, cut the foam a little bit bigger, and then we shoved it into the window. And the great thing with the 2-inch thick is it does just fit literally right within the cracks. So we were originally going to get a 1-inch thick foam and realized that that could just kind of flop around. And so we went with a 2-inch, and yes, it's more expensive, but we don't have to do any taping or anything like that. And as you can see, today it's not that cold or anything like that. So it's one of those days where I don't necessarily want the foam to stay in my window. And so I can just pull it out, lay it on top of my bed, and or even put it under my bed because, you know, the bed folds up, and not have to even think about it. And then at nighttime, I just shove them in. Also, really great thing with foam. Obviously, it doesn't really let light in. I mean, you still saw that there was light coming in, but it's not going to be like, I can't see out my window. So that's kind of a bummer. But at the same time, if you have anything else over your window, like something clear, like I've heard people talk about bubble wrap and stuff like that, it doesn't insulate as well. And quite frankly, we have like the screen sections of our windows too that we're not necessarily going to be able to insulate. So we'll still have light coming in, even on the days where we don't necessarily want to take the insulation out of our windows. But with it being white, while we can't see out of it, the light does still come through. And sorry, I said earlier, light coming through. Light comes through regardless. It's just a little bit more filtered. It's just we don't have necessarily the view of being able to see outside and whatnot. But that's not really a concern of ours. Our main concern is with this foam is it working at night. And the great thing is the first night we put it in our kids' room specifically, because their room, they do get rather cold having a window like this, like right next to their bed. We put the insulation in the window, and we put our hand to it to feel and everything like that. Even after several minutes of it being on the window and it being colder, and it was 43 degrees outside, and we could barely feel anything. Like, we couldn't feel any coldness whatsoever. And I asked my children the next morning, you know, how did you sleep last night? Was it better than the night before and everything else? And they said they're like, my oldest daughter actually said, who sleeps on the top bunk, said she was hot. And my middle daughter, who sleeps actually right next to the window, said that she was fine. There was times where she was maybe a little bit cool, but then she threw her blanket back over her and she was totally fine. So it wasn't a big deal, and it worked really well. It's, I want to say, about $20, $29, I think, for this giant pack. And you can see here the length and width and everything like that. So for us, it covered our girls' bedroom window, our girls' vent, because it had a, you know, one of the vents above it, our girls' bedroom window, our girls' vent, our bedroom window here, and then we still had some extra left over that covered the strips on either side of our other bedroom window. So we were able to cover quite a few of our windows. I think, honestly, we're only going to need 2 packs, maybe a tiny bit more from another pack, but I think we'll be totally fine because we only have 2 vents and 1 window like this to cover. So yeah, we'll be fine with just 2 packages. So basically for $60, we were able to insulate all our windows in our camper with this project foam, and it's very heavily insulated and it works fantastic. I highly, highly suggest you all taking a look to check it out. Like I said, 40-degree weather, and we were toasty warm in our camper. There was no, I'm cold, Mom, or even me. I didn't even feel cold. I had my covers kicked off because I was rather warm with the heater on. So it worked really nicely. And also this too will be energy saving somewhat because you won't have to be running your heater as much if you just get some of this and stick it in your windows when it starts getting pretty cold. But if you all have any suggestions on things you've done for your campers, if you've lived in a camper during cooler weather or cold weather, winters, whatnot, definitely drop the tips in the comments below. I'd be happy to hear them because this will be our first winter in anywhere that has snow. So love to hear what some other people's suggestions are. And if you do have any questions about this foam and what we did as well, you're more than welcome to drop in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. All right, hope y'all stay warm this winter. Bye.